Tatum spins on the paint, kicks it. White takes it to the basket, throws it down. Derrick White, where you been?
Having a game.
Almost fell out of my seat after I saw that dunk right there. Welcome into Celtics Postgame Live, presented by New England Ford Dealers and Ford Trucks. Chris Forsberg, Amina Smith here with you. And the Celtics beat the Orlando Magic 126-120. And the Celtics, they start this season 3-0. And I know it's a small sample size, Chris Forsberg, but what is this Celtics team showing you to start this season?
So they're winning in different ways, right? Like they've had to play a bunch of close games, one of the lopsided there on opening night, but sometimes you got to just figure it out. And on a night where Jaylen Brown didn't have it going, when Marcus Smart didn't have it going early, you had Tatum sort of carrying you, and then guys like Derrick White really kicking it up when they needed to. And I think this is why you need depth. This is why you make those trades like Brad did last season to bolster this roster. It's why you bring in guys like Malcolm Brogdon this year. So you're just going to have to lean on your depth some nights. And I told you, Amina, this Magic team, it's frisky.
They were frisky.
And some nights you're going to trade baskets. I'd love to sit here and say the Celtics, we wanted to see them kind of assert themselves. But in the absence of that, finding a way to win isn't the worst thing.
Yeah, the Orlando Magic, they were frisky in this one. But Derrick White, he had himself a game, 27 points in this matchup, and the most points that he scored in a Boston Celtics jersey. And it really all started in that fourth quarter where he turned things around, really changed the momentum. What did you see out of Derrick White when this game started to turn and really when the Celtics tried to pull away?
Well, the first in general, you can tell how much more comfortable he is here in Boston. I got a chance to sit down with him last week. And think about it, like he gets traded here and he's got to get comfortable. They go on this crazy second half run. They go to this crazy playoff run. He has a baby during the Eastern Conference Finals. His head was spinning the whole time and he didn't really kind of look up until July and be like, whoa, this was wild. And now he sort of comes to camp this year and he's feeling a lot more confident about himself and a lot more confident in his shot. And I just love the way he's playing. And Joe Mazzulla's talked about this too. When he's confident and going at the basket and doing good things happen. But, I mean, this was absurd.
Oh, my goodness.
Taking the elevator
I'm telling you, my jaw was
down.
on the floor when I saw that play. I did not have Derrick White dunking on my bingo card tonight, Forsberg. Not at all.
I'm not. And then he kind of threw it back to what he's better known for and taking the charge. And Blake and Marcus are all fired up about it. Derrick White impacts winning at both ends of the court. It won't always show up in the point total like it did tonight. But he makes good things happen. That's why they brought him up on that first unit. He's malleable. He can play with anybody when he's out there. And I just can't say it enough. His role is going to fluctuate. He's going to go back to the bench at some point. He might not play as many minutes on nights, but he's going to find ways to impact winning, and that's all you can ask for from the people that you're bringing into this organization.
Well, a big night from Derrick White, but also a big night for Jayson Tatum. 40 points in this matchup and finds himself in some elite company. Tatum with 104 points through the first 3 games. And take a look at this. Most points by a Celtic over the first 3 games of the season. Great company right here. Larry Bird, you got Paul Pierce on this list as well, Bob Cousy. But you take a look at Larry Bird in 84 and 85 and Bob Cousy in 56 and 57. They went on to an NBA MVP. So just putting that out there in the atmosphere. All right, let's send out to Abby Chin, who's with Tatum right now.
Jayson, you spoke last night about the joy this team is playing with. This game, though, was an all-out battle. What did it take and what made the difference?
Man, I mean, we got to give some credit. They played with confidence. They made shots, but we got to be better. You know, 120 points, 100-plus points in the first game. You know, that's just not who we are. And, I mean, it's a back-to-back. It's early, but, you know, if we're trying to get back to where we want to be, you know, we got to play way better than this. And it shouldn't take, you know, the back and forth for us to, you know, play the right way on both ends. So we just got to start better and just play together way better than we did this game.
Did get the win, your first 40-point game of the season. Did your friend, fellow Dookie, Paolo, did he make you angry early on there with the no call on the foul? Is that what got you going?
I mean, we just felt like it was too comfortable for them as a group. You know, we weren't applying the pressure that we normally do. And, you know, any NBA player, you know, if they're comfortable, they would play with confidence, they're going to be good. So, you know, I just wanted to ramp it up, you know, and then everybody else ramp it up as well and get a win.
I know you're sick of hearing about your slow starts. You've done the opposite this season. You've scored the most points by any Celtic in the first 3 games. What does this feel like for you right now when you're on the floor?
Feels good. Happy to be back playing basketball after the summertime and after losing in the finals. All I could think about was just getting ready to play and start a new chapter. I've said it a million times, it was a long, miserable summer. So I just wanted to get back out here and compete and just try to win. I don't know how many points I score. I just want to get back to that point. So I just, try to come out here and win every game we can.
Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You hear that MVP chants inside of the Amway Center down there in Orlando, and Jayson Tatum embracing it all as he gets into the tunnel. And, you hear Jayson Tatum talk about we got to be better. And you know what, Forsberg, listening to Jayson Tatum through these first 3 games and even in the preseason and also in the offseason, there's something different. He is very upset about what happened last season and them not winning an NBA championship. And you could tell through these first 3 games.
Yeah, what do you call it? Long, miserable summer. And every time he's been asked about it, he said, leaving the house was miserable because everyone would come up to him and be like, hey, good job in the NBA Finals. And that's the last thing you want to hear as a player, because all it makes you think about is how close you were to accomplishing the goal and the fact that you didn't do it. I love that on a night where he goes out and scores 40 points and helps his team to what we would probably say is an uglier win. His first reaction is, man, we got to be better on defense. So he's saying all the right things. His mindset is completely right. I do agree. I think it has shifted. But the bigger conversation here is he's going to be in the MVP conversation, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. He has to be.
He muscled his way in last year because of how good he was over the course of those final 2.5 months. But slow start Tatum is done. And I keep saying it. If he's this good now, what happens come January when he really starts to ratchet it up? When he goes to that next gear, it just shows how motivated he is from this offseason, how much he's invested in his game to get back there. The floater is just more crisp this year. He's more aggressive at the basket. He's not settling for 3-pointers. He's forcing the issue. He's showing off that strength. So there's just so many good things that are happening right now. And I don't know how long it's going to take, but the national buzz will start soon. If the Celtics are winning like they are right now, we'll be talking about Jayson Tatum as an MVP candidate.
And this is Jayson Tatum's 15th game with 40 or more points. And, Forsberg, it just feels like he's added something new to his skill set. What did you see in this matchup that you haven't seen last season?
I think for Tatum right now, I consistently go back to the fact that he's more aggressive at going at the basket. He's a little craftier with his finishes. I feel like he's got that floater game. We've seen him working after practice a time on that mid-range to 10 feet, sort of just floating it over the defense because he's so big that he can just kind of loft it up over there, but it wasn't a consistent shot in the past. I think when we think about last year and how good he was, a lot of it always reverted back to, was he making 3-pointers or not? And that still has to be a weapon for the Celtics, and it certainly has been in instances this season. But I love aggressive Tatum. I love when he's going at the basket, looking for contact, not hesitating, and especially in transition. And I think that's been, for me, in the early season, that's been the biggest difference with Tatum.
Yeah, he's welcoming that contact this season. All right, let's bring in Scal, who's live down there in Orlando. And Scal, this Magic team, very scrappy. They scored at a high clip in this matchup. Frisky is the word that Chris Forsberg wants me to use. But, what surprised you about the Magic in this matchup?
Their size, their strength, and how young they are. Normally, young players come in the league and you can push them around. They got to get used to the speed of the game. These guys were good. They were good. Banchero's a good player. Wendell Carter Jr. is finally coming into his own. Franz Wagner has worked on his game. So yeah, they were. Listen, we've seen some bad Magic teams. I think these guys are heading in a good direction right now.
I'm going to ask the same question that Amina gave me. What's different from your perspective about what we're seeing from Tatum this year? What has helped him sort of separate himself early this season?
If I had to pinpoint one thing, I would say, felt like he's reading the defense a lot better. I think he's reading the depths of the defense. If you have a guy on you, he's taking his time and he's finding how to attack that guy. But he's watching, where's the second guy doing? And I heard you talking about the floater. When do I use that? When do I move it? When do I hit a guy that's relocating? And I think all that stuff, when you're growing as a player, you pick up on some of it and then it goes away. Then you get back and then you have a night where it's all flowing, then it goes away. What I feel right now is he's consistently reading the defense and making the right read. Doesn't mean he makes every shot, you know, like you could still miss shots and make the right read, but I feel like he's just reading the game at a really high level right now. I don't think he's going any faster. I don't think he's going any stronger. You know, even though I see him, you know, getting contact, that's a read that you have to make. I just feel like he's keeping his poise and he's reading the defense at such a high level. And the main thing that stands out when he does that, he doesn't complain to the officials, not on the offensive end. He's not looking for calls because he is making so many right reads that he's not worried about the officials. He's worried about going on to the next step. What is the next read I have to do? So that to me looks like a big difference between, especially like at times when he was bad in the playoffs, but really like throughout the year, he's just starting as good Jayson Tatum, the good Jayson Tatum that dropped, was it 46 against Milwaukee in Game 6 on the road? So that's kind of what I've been seeing from him.
First back-to-back test for this Celtics team, a challenge for them tonight out there on the floor. Scout, what grade would you give the Celtics after what you saw tonight?
I mean, my concerns are still the size of this team. You know, like, we're talking about winning a championship, right? We're not talking about just like being a solid team. So, yeah, like, are we big enough? Are we big enough when Al Horford needs a rest day and he should take those rest days? Are we big enough with Rob Williams out? Like, we didn't get a ton of production from, you know, the bigs. They had their moments. Vonleh, Blake Griffin had their moments, but a lot of times we're battling out there against a really big team with Grant Williams at the 5. So that would be like, I mean, I give them like flying colors outside of the size, but I can't just stamp them at A+ on the back-to-back without, you know, the size factor and the defensive factor, the rim protection factor, but all things that could be solved with a healthy Rob Williams and Al Horford being out there. So I give him a lot of credit. From a gut factor, I give him an A+. It's a gutsy win against a team that wouldn't go away, and they dug deep and they got it done.
Yeah, it sounds like a C or maybe like a 7, as you would call it usually. A solid 7, Scout.